Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yo, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Aaron Williams.
And welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are radio for the local craft beer movement, broadcasting from not our studios this time, but from the iconic Brick Store Pub in downtown Decatur, Georgia. I'm Aaron Williams.
And I'm Tim Dennis, and like Aaron said, we are at Brick Store Pub. We got a cool location here today.
Oh, this is awesome, yeah.
So we are literally inside the upstairs cellar taping the show this week. We're very tempted to open all of the beers.
There's just a massive list of beers here, and some of them may go missing.
Right.
Just saying.
Yes. Don't look to us, though, if it happens.
No, it wasn't
But we're
us.
here because this is Brick Store's 20th anniversary. They opened in 1997, celebrating 20 years, and it's going to be, or it is, and going to be, an awesome day here.
It is. You know, they've got a lot of whales here. They're pouring a lot of good collaboration beers, and it's just a lot of fun. And glad to see the two other members of the Beer Guys Radio crew with us as well, Becky Klein and Brian Hewitt, of course, joining us too. So
we have the whole squad.
Word.
We're here.
Which doesn't happen a lot.
No, it doesn't.
We don't get to do that very often.
We all have our separate ways and separate
Yeah.
lives, as it would say. But
now we're doing a quick week this week, Aaron.
It is quick turnaround.
You know, since Brick Store had this event today, we're absolutely honored. They invited us to do a show here. So as far as what we've drank this week, there's only really been about a day worth of drinking. There,
yeah, and I've just drank way so much this week. I just had to kind of back off a little bit. But
today,
yeah.
I mean, all these collaboration beers. So what have you enjoyed so far today?
Boy, I tell you what, there were some fantastic beers that were on tap here at the Brick Store Pub. One of my favorites was the Allagash. They did a really nice job with their Cuvée du Havre Rob American Sour. I thought that was really delicious. They also had another one from Wild Heaven, all inspired. Very similar to what their Emmylou was. I really enjoyed that one, too.
Very good.
And, of course, a couple of IPAs as well. Scofflaw had Mayor Bill, and also had a Brick Hoppy Monster, actually, from Terrapin. Another good one. And Burial, Lobster Gun Saison. So a lot of good stuff.
You know what? The beers are all great.
Absolutely.
And being honest, nothing against collaborations, but sometimes the spirit of collaboration is a lot better than the execution.
Exactly, yeah.
But I've tried a lot of these beers, and they're really good. My favorite so far was the Cigar City collaboration. They did a Grisette. That was really nice. The Allagash is really good. They have one from Maine Beer Company as well as Almanac. I love Almanac beers. And so for those that don't know the theme, Brick Store did 20 beers for 20 years. They went around the world, really, and brewed with different brewers for 20 collaborations to put on deck here. So
they had two coffee beers, a coffee saison, which I rather enjoyed.
Second Self, right?
Second Self.
Coffee
It was
saison.
very nice. East
really
Bowl. It was a sun-dried Ethiopian coffee bean they put in there.
Yeah, that's
delightful.
East Pole Coffee Company.
Yes, East Pole. Yes.
Yeah.
And I forget who did the coffee blonde, the stout.
It was
blonde
Left
with
Hand.
coffee. Left Hand. That's right. Yes. Right. Delightful.
So excellent. Becky, did you enjoy? How did you enjoy there?
Oh, of course. I definitely liked the Burial with the lobster gun because, I like my puns. So
of course.
I enjoyed that one.
The lobster gun pun.
Lobster gun pun and Dessert. I finally got to try Dessert.
There
I
you
missed
go.
them.
Okay.
When you all had them in the studio, so I got
Well,
to
we were in the studio. We're actually at 3 Taverns,
Well,
but they
we're
here.
through
But
Taverns.
it's okay.
I wasn't
Verzette?
Verzette,
Yes, Verzette. Yes, that's really good. So.
Yeah, they did a really nice job there. So, I think that wraps up really our Truck and Tap Beers of the Week, too, because we're drinking them, too.
Yeah, we're drinking all the collaborations today.
Absolutely. All of the collaborations.
And Foo-Foon. Some Cantillon.
Now, we got a little, you got definitely Whaley on that, too.
Yes.
So.
Distruce, Black Albert.
Yeah, so there was a lot of whales, not only in the tent that was going on, but actually on tap here at the Brick Store Pub, too. So, definitely a lot of wonderful beers to enjoy. And we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit later on in the show with one of the folks from Brick Store Pub, of course. And we'll also talk to some of the folks that are here at the Brick Store Pub talking about some memories and some great things. 20 years, it's been great 20 years, and they're really kind of the first place in the metro Atlanta area to really do craft beer right. We'll get into this a little bit later, but I remember I moved here in 2000, and when I asked where a good place was to get a beer, this was the first thing out of everyone's lips.
This is the place to be.
It really was. It really was. So they've done a great job. Again, very influential, and there's been a lot of folks that have kind of come through here, almost like an internship program where a lot of the local brewers and people who have done breweries and brew pubs across the metro Atlanta area have kind of come through here. It's almost like an internship for them.
Yeah, Dave and the crew here have to be sick of people leaving. So
That's true.
Actually, they seem to foster that. So
No.
we're actually going to ask him about that a little bit later.
It's like an internship program here.
Exactly.
Seriously.
It is.
You want to start up an awesome brewery? Come work at the Brick Store.
That's right. Go to the brick store, figure it out, and then kind of go from there. Let's go ahead and take a look at our headlines for the week.
What's in the news? The beer guys have the scoop.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Time for headlines. Sponsored by Your Pie Perimeter in the Perimeter Place Shopping Center across from Perimeter Mall.
Jim Cook from Boston Beer Company, of course, had an interesting interview, and he was talking about the race to the bottom in craft beer, and he was talking about how they are being fueled by the 15 packs. I don't know if you've seen them before, but they're kind of coming out more recently. Some of the sessionable beers are coming out in 15 packs. I know Founders All Day IPA, I've seen that before. I think a Long Trail out of Vermont has a 15 pack out as well. He was talking about how it's almost a race to the bottom because you get more in packaging, but it also comes as a cheaper price. And so by doing that, some of the bigger breweries, the craft breweries, are going to go ahead and drive the prices down and kind of stifle some growth in the industry.
You know, he said that a couple times about different things.
Yeah.
And I respect him. He's obviously knows his beer and his business there.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally, and I'm in no position to disagree with Jim Cook, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
All right. So there. But I think that craft has kind of a different, mentality there. There's going to be people that do seek out the cheap 15 packs.
Sure.
And the fact that they'll have some craft options there, I think, is a great thing. But I still think there's going to be a lot of people that will come to places like Brick Store, and they'll pay $400 for a 5-ounce pour of Pantheon like we do. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit low.
Yes.
and I think Jim Cook may have just a slightly different view because of the size of his brewery.
True.
So,
True. Yeah,
but I'm some schmo that runs his mouth on the radio and not a
that's also
billionaire
true.
beer baron.
Yeah, and I'm
So-
just one of those guys too. But I mean, for me, of course, as craft beer fans, it's very rare for me to buy anything more than a 6-pack of beer at one time. I like to have a variety, and I like to kind of spice things up a little bit by moving through. But a 15-pack for me is convenient if you're going to a party. If you're going to a party with a lot of people, maybe go and hang out, doing a barbecue thing. Go ahead and get a 15-pack of All Day IPA and be okay.
Need to trade all your friends out for beer nerds, and then everybody just brings a cooler full of different beers.
You know
to
what?
share.
That's brilliant. I need to do that. I need to get new friends, apparently.
That's it.
No, I've got great friends. I love them all. Yes. Monday Night Brewing's Jeff Heck. He was actually interviewed about craft beer's effect on real estate earlier for one of the real estate trade magazines. Very interesting, and of course we've talked about this before, how craft beer and breweries really kind of go into depressed areas and build things up and create a community and raise the real estate prices. The real estate community has actually started to notice this, and it's a good trend for commercial brewers.
I think the term they used was industrial absorption.
Okay.
Is that right? Where
Yeah.
they're going into the old industrial areas that may not be as desirable and making use of them.
Yeah.
So, yay, craft beer.
A great gay craft beer. It's a smart idea. Of course, breweries need cheap real estate. They can go into these places and bring it up and create a community, which is always good. Now, of course, we've been talking a little bit about craft beer in the South, and Virginia is one of the big up-and-comers in the craft beer world. The governor has really been proactive in bringing craft beer there. Apparently, they've been growing hops there for a lot of years for local beers. Now they're starting to expand their hop. Farmers are starting to expand their crop and to distribute it across the country as well. So it's a new industry cropping up thanks to craft beer in Virginia. So it's very interesting. Yeah, definitely. And finally, the best beer in America. The Zymurgy magazine, of course, has a poll, and for years it's been Pliny the Elder, Russian River, of course.
8 years.
It's
held
been
the
several
spot
years,
there.
yeah. It's been overtaken, though, this year by Bell's Two-Hearted Ale out of Michigan. Very interesting. So you look at the list of beers, and you notice that there were very few from the South, and actually none from Georgia. So I always take these surveys with a grain of salt.
You do.
I try to anyway, because it seems like it's almost a popularity contest more than it is anything else.
They're always fun to look at, see who makes the list. You always see some very well-known beers that make that, and no doubt both Two Hearted and Pliny are fantastic beers.
Of course,
so.
absolutely, yes. But of course, we got some great beers around here too.
I think it illustrates a movement away from the West Coast IPA and towards the New England. That's why it's falling down, because that was the king of the West Coast IPA.
Sure. And now it's kind of moving back, and you're seeing a lot of those northeastern juicy IPAs, and who knows? The trends have changed, and that's what makes beer great. Changes all the way. So
We're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back in just a moment from the Brick Store's Beer Cellar.
Yes, we are.
You listen to Beer Guys Radio, and we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Bob Sandage, owner of the Wrecking Bar Brew Pub. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
The Beer Guys are back right after this.
It's Aaron and Tim, the Beer Guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock is always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy. They have 12 of them. Bottles, too. Not sure what to drink? All of their beer servers are Cicerone certified. And if you got someone who isn't a beer fan, not to worry. Truck and Tap carries wine, mixed drinks, and even handcrafted sodas.
As for the truck part, well, that's when it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks daily. That way, you're getting a different menu every day.
Check it out. Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the Beer Guys sent you.
Have you ever thought about owning your own brewery, but don't know what it takes to get one built? We're CRL Contracting, and we build breweries. We are the most experienced contractors in the state of Georgia when it comes to building new breweries and tap rooms, or expanding current breweries. If you've been to Orpheus, Second Self, or Scofflaw, then you know what kind of work we can do. Just give us a call at 678-546-3382 or visit crlcontracting.com for more information. CRL Contracting. We build breweries. crlcontracting.com.
Andrew and Lisa with Your Pie Perimeter here. We'd like to invite you to our store for a beer.
Is there anything better than pizza?
Yep, brick oven pizza that's made fresh and paired with a cold craft beer.
That's what you get at Your Pie Perimeter, located in the Perimeter Place Shopping Center by Perimeter Mall.
It's the perfect place to relax on the patio with a pint after work or bring the family in.
Andrew and Lisa, I'm going to let you finish, but first, you forgot to mention the $3 craft beer specials you have every Thursday. I mean, come on, the pizza's great, but that's an amazing deal. $3 craft beer specials every Thursday. Now, go ahead and finish your commercial.
Follow Your Pie Perimeter on Facebook for all of our beer events and specials.
That's Your Pie Perimeter, located in Perimeter Place Shopping Center next to Chipotle.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. Woo!
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
And welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. BeerGuysRadio.com is our website, and we are here celebrating the Brick Store Pub's 20th anniversary. We got some VIPs in the room right now. We've got Dave Blanchard, of course, one of the owners of the Brick Store Pub. Dan LaFontaine, the new
Fontaine.
Just Fontaine. I like LaFontaine, though. It gives it a little bit more of a French
Never
thing.
played hockey.
Oh,
so,
see, exactly.
Yeah.
Pat was awesome. I loved him. Anyway, so and Ryan Skinner, the current and former beer managers.
Yes.
Beer cellar managers. See, this is what happens when we start the show late, but it's okay. So, excellent, guys. Thanks so much for joining
Aaron,
us.
you've had few too many beers already.
Just a couple.
Yes,
it's okay.
Absolutely.
It's all right.
So,
exactly.
Guys, again, thank you so much for joining us, for having us out here for your 20th anniversary. Dave, we talked a little bit. These are... It's exciting. We love to do it at these events. We know that it's tough for you guys to break away when you're having a big event, but we appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk with us.
Of course,
here,
it's my pleasure, Tim, for sure.
So we just want to talk a little bit about 20 years. We joined you. You and Ryan sat down with us just a little over a year ago, just ahead of your 19th anniversary. And you mentioned at that time, you said it's hard to get people excited for the 19th, because everybody wants to know what you're doing for your 20. So,
right.
So here we are. We've made 20th, and you hinted to us then that your big plan was 20 beers for 20 years, collaborations with 20 breweries around the world, and you made that happen.
Yeah, it's been a good year and a half process now, but we did. We started this thing about a year and a half ago, and started thinking about the idea of picking 20 breweries and seeing if they would be interested in brewing a beer with us. And I think it took 20 breweries of us asking them to say we would love to be involved.
Awesome.
The only one we tried to get was Bell's. And Bell's, they're some of our best friends, and they've got their little system up in Kalamazoo, and they are like, their schedule is maxed out for like the next 8 months, so they could not squeeze us in. So that was a bit of a drag, but it was no problem at all, like filling the 20 spots. It was more like it was more just the hope that they wanted to do it, and I think the best part was the brewery's excitement to actually want to do it with us. So it felt really good, and it still feels great. And today it's been amazing so far.
That's awesome. So I know it's hard to pick out when you do 20 great breweries. I mean, you've got some of the breweries you have down there. Of course, a lot of great Georgia breweries, that you did collaborations with. We've also seen, Allagash, St. Bernardus, did a collaboration with. So
Totally.
I ask you a super tough question here. Is there, I won't say favorite, but is there one collaboration that stood out as very memorable for you?
I would say Ryan and I traveled to Belgium back in September. We went over there. We got knighted.
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got knighted.
Well,
my friend.
I got knighted.
You earned it. Not
I
me.
know, but I like to say I took it for the team. Took one for the team.
You earned it.
Okay, that's fine. Anyway, so we went over, and while we were over, we had conversations with St. Bernardus for probably 4 years about doing a collaboration with him. And it wasn't until this 20-year idea came along that basically pushed us to like, all right, we're going to do these 20 collaborations, and this is finally the chance to do this collaboration with St. Bernardus that we've always wanted to do. So Ryan and I went over, and we got knighted, and we went and brewed the Saison with St. Bernardus in Casamaten, which is a little brewery just outside of Watu. And it was, I mean, Ryan's sitting here smiling, nodding his head. He will contend that it was probably certainly the best, coolest thing we did.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Being in wipers and in those old ammunition bunkers, there's nothing like that I've ever seen or been a part of in my life. I will eternally be grateful to Dave the Brick Store and St. Bernardus for providing that experience, and the beer is stellar. It's the first time I've really tasted the finished product today.
It's really good.
It is. It's all that we thought it would be, and I think we're pretty appreciative of that.
Man, I just want to reiterate here that we're talking to Sir David that brewed with
Sir David, exactly.
Sir David of
Sir David of Brick Store.
You hear the groans around the room.
Yeah. See? Yeah. But seriously, I mean, Knighted, and you brew a collaboration with St. Bernardus. I mean, 20 years ago as a beer geek starting out, could you have ever thought that you'd do that?
I can assure you I didn't even know what St. Bernardus was 20 years ago.
Yeah, so that's awesome, man. That's great.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's funny, we've been talking to a lot of folks, a lot of brewers, a lot of folks in the beer industry here, and they always say how important the Brick Store is to really starting their career. I mean, it seems like it's almost, and we talked about this before, it's almost like you guys are an internship for a lot of folks working in the beer industry here in Georgia. They come here, they kind of learn their skills, and they open their own brew pub, brewery, brew house, things like that. Do you hate the turnover all the time, or is it a good thing?
Truthfully, I think it's the guys that come here a lot. Like, they have this idea for a brewery, and they inevitably come here and start spending a lot of time here drinking beer, talking about the idea they have for the brewery. And I've talked to every single, I think we have, 8 or 9 local breweries downstairs. I don't even remember what the breakdown was. But every one of them, spent a lot of time here at the Brick Store figuring out what they wanted to do. And that's certainly very cool. We do have several people that are off, that are trying to do their own brewery, and I really hope they do, because they're great guys too. Of course, as we all sitting in this room know, everybody, all have 10 people that we know that are opening breweries.
Yes.
Right.
So it will be fun to see how that shakes out. But I think more importantly, anybody who's opening a brewery in Georgia tends to, we end up meeting these guys, and they sort of bounce their ideas off us just to see what we think about what it is that they're trying to do. And I can't think of anyone who started something that we haven't been super supportive of. I know Dan sitting here, he's pretty new, and he's going to get to know a lot of these guys. Ryan, you've been here for a while and probably can attest to that fact. How many people that have started breweries that have kind of cut their teeth here?
I mean, the most recent one that I can think of would be Scofflaw. JP came in, and he introduced himself and said he was going to open a brewery, and in the back of my head I was like, yeah, you and every other knucklehead that's going to come and sit at the bar. We had a connection through Arizona, which is where I used to live, and he said he was hiring a brewer from Russian River. Invited me out to taste the beers, tasted them, the very first beers they had made out of the bright tanks, and they were incredible. For somebody like myself, it's not lost on me how special that opportunity is to go to meet the people that are opening the breweries, to get to know all of them personally, but then go and taste those beers. Most people don't get to do that. For somebody like myself, it's pretty special. That's a really cool thing in the beer industry to be able to do. And I'm always appreciative that the Brick Store has provided me with that opportunity to go and do those things. So yeah, they come here. It's kind of cutting their teeth, in essence. They figure out what they like, or who they are, who they want, what beers they want to brew, who they want to be in the industry. And the Brick Store provides a starting point for that, or a jumping off point. It certainly has for me. And I think a lot of other people are in the same boat in that regard.
It's kind of funny, the beer manager, it was my baby for the first, probably 12 years we were open. I did all the ordering and sort of, started it, and then we expanded up here and started the cellar and everything. And eventually it just got too big of a job for me to do in addition to having ownership responsibilities. And it occurred to me that, there's probably a full-time position here. And Lee Dixon was the first one to do it. He was working here as a server, and he was super passionate about beer. And, because of my still close involvement with the beer program, the beer manager, it's funny, I called Dan the other day, and I said, hey, Dan, just so you know, you're number 4 on my favorites list on my phone, behind my daughter, my son, and my wife.
That's a big list. That's it.
So I'm like, you know what that means? He's like, it just means I call you a lot.
It was frightening. It was frightening.
Yeah,
definitely. But I work very close, and inevitably, the beer manager just by default becomes one of my really close friends, and then it just sort of the next step is the people that we as owners work closest with we start thinking about doing other things together, and so that's how it worked. With Ryan and Todd and Timmy, we probably would have been involved with my parents' basement, but they didn't need us. So
didn't need it. Okay.
But he's here and he's around all the time, and I'm so happy for those guys because they are sort of part of us and have our DNA and all that they do. Right. And so yeah, my beer managers are mine. We are to me they're like my fraternity. Like between these guys and Tim and Lee, they're like. We're the only ones that kind of know what it takes to do the beer at the beer store. So it's
very cool.
They're my peeps.
We need to take a quick break, Dave. We'll chat a little bit more. You're listening to Beer Guys Radio. We are in the upstairs beer cellar at Brick Store
it
Pub
is
in
Aaron
Decatur,
with the
Georgia.
Beer Guys, and we are talking craft beer from the Stout Brothers Smyrna Beer Market. If you are getting together with the crew this weekend, you need to skip the grocery store, head to the Stout Brothers Smyrna Beer Market to pick up growlers, or yes, they've got crowlers too, of the craft beer you love. It is a great place to spend the summertime with craft beer, barbecue fixin', fresh local meats and cheeses, all of that great stuff. They make hanging out with the friends on weekends easy. Make sure to grab some local beers from Creature Comforts, Omaha, Southern, Arches, Monday Night, Sweetwater, all of the great Georgia breweries that we have. Of course, it's beer drinking season, but it's also grilling season. And the Stout Brothers Smyrna Beer Market has you covered with all things Big Green Egg. They've got grills of all sizes and all the accessories. Seriously, they've got everything you need for a great barbecue. It is quite simple. If you like craft beer, you have to visit the Stout Brothers Smyrna Beer Market. It's in the Smyrna Market Village, and check out thestoutbrothers.com for the tap list. That's thestoutbrothers.com, and let them know the Beer Guy sent you.
If you're into craft beer, you need to check out Drink This Beer. It's a podcast from the creators of Beer Guys Radio. Tim Dennis and Aaron Williams talk to some of the best and most important brewers across the country and the world. So if you like to drink beer, pull up a chair and crack open the Drink This Beer podcast. Available on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We are Reformation Brewery, celebrating the reformer in you. Locally crafted within the renowned Etowah watershed of Woodstock, Georgia, Reformation creates yeast-forward brews full of aroma and flavor crafted to last. Come see us in beautiful Woodstock, Georgia, for a tour and tasting of unique brews that you can't find anywhere else. Reformation Brewery. Set beer free. ReformationBrewery.com.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Shake it back! Woo!
And welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are in the Brick Store cellar. We're packing the house.
It is crowded in here.
We've got more people join us. Mike Gallagher, one of the other owners, stepped in here and joined us. And Ryan Skinner got us some Fantôme Saison to drink. And Dan Law, Dr. Dre Fontaine is with us. It's just Dan Fontaine.
It's just Dan.
It's just Dan.
Okay, good.
Make it easy on us there. So, guys, again, thank you so much for joining us, having us out today. Fantastic event, great beers, and one of our favorite places for sure.
Thanks, Tim. Nice to have you guys.
Absolutely. So we talked a little bit about kind of the folks here, and Dan, we actually haven't talked to you much, but so you're the new beer manager here.
I am.
As Ryan heads off to other things.
Right.
So how'd you connect up with the Brick Store guys?
Well, that's kind of
like most people in this area, I connected with the brick store just coming in and drinking beer.
Yeah.
Been coming here for over a decade. My wife and I went on our first date here, which is a cool story to tell people. And as far as the beer manager thing, I was working with Guinness, traveling a lot, and was just looking for something in the beer industry around Atlanta. I always wanted to run a beer program, and when I saw that the brick store was looking for someone to do that, I kind of dropped everything and sent resumes and cover letters and emails to Ryan and just did my best to just get in the door and talk to these
sort
guys.
of stalking them and,
Yeah,
just
no,
saying,
not short of.
Okay, good. Yeah,
pure hardcore stalking, yeah.
Ryan, are you asleep?
And yeah, I mean, I fooled them.
There you go.
That works.
No, but like you said, if you're looking to manage a beer program and you hear the brick stores looking, that's a no-brainer, right?
100%. Yeah.
Absolutely.
For
Awesome.
sure.
So, man, you've got some guys that have set up a great time with you. I think you said Lee Dixon you gave him the freedom to start stocking the cellar, so he just did it, right?
I'd rather not talk about that.
Okay, we'll leave that part alone. So, but
his accountant was not happy when that happened.
You've got a great cellar here to work with already, a great beer program. Is there anything that you plan to change or keep following the old guard, the pretty good plan?
I mean, I certainly don't walk into the brick store with plans to change it.
Sure.
There will be things that change, I think, just naturally over time. Ryan and I are different people. Ryan and Tim are different people. But, there's nothing that I want to change. I mean, this is my favorite place to be in the world, pretty much. So I'm not going to walk in and, change a bunch of things. Stainless steel straws, I think, are a good idea.
There we go.
Yeah.
Knew it. So, change may have not been the best question because you don't come into a place like a brick store with a program like this and, maybe add to or that. Because like you said, everybody's an individual and, even keeping the same program in place, there'll be your personal touch, Dan.
Sure. I mean, I'm really interested in food and beer pairing. I would like to do stuff with that. But, these guys have been around for 20 years. I feel like they've done that stuff. They have that experience. And, just talking to Ryan, talking to Lee, talking to Dave, talking to the previous people in the position, it's just kind of – there's a lot of leverage to just let you learn these things on your own. It's not like we've done this doesn't work. It's we've done this. It was what it was. If you want to try it again, do it. And so – that flexibility is something that honestly I didn't expect and something that's really amazing. Just, hey, this is your thing. Go do it. Just don't screw it up.
I've always get that. That's always good advice. Don't screw it up.
We got
That's
a good thing
key.
going here.
Exactly.
Keep it going. So,
exactly.
Mike, I know Dave and Ryan well, so we've always grabbed them when we've talked and that. But we're glad you stepped in here to join us today. We'd definitely like to chat with you here and
happy to be here.
So, Dave, I know you did an interview recently with Al Sharpton that he wrote up for craftbeer.com, which was just a fantastic write-up. He asked you some questions about that. So he asked the question I was going to, great minds, I guess, about kind of the most memorable moments over the last. So he asked your top three. So I'll ask you, Mike, not to be exactly, what were the 7th, 9th, and 11th most memorable moments you had here?
I'm glad you hit those numbers. Those are the ones I've been ruminating.
Yeah. But what are some of your most memorable moments here?
At 7, 9, and 11 a.m.
That's
it.
They
all hit me.
They all hit you.
We got some fun. These are like the Nerfs that we did, the Nerf basketball.
Yeah. It's a windscreen on there, exactly.
As a kid. Dave had some great ones because they were emotional and heartfelt. We've had some. I've had a few old employees today share some goofy and fun ones with me. But one I talked about in the Atlanta Magazine article. But one that does stand out that we haven't talked about was the day we did the official sort of relaunch for Rochefort here at Brick Store, and it was really cool. I think it was one of the first times we had national writers travel. There was only 2 on the East Coast, Monk's Cafe in Philly. Tom Peters hosted them, and then we hosted those guys here at Brick Store Pub. And it was the first, so Merchant Devin, had an opportunity to relaunch Rochefort. And so we did a big party. Our chefs got to cook, Belgian, did some great Flemish food, and It is also one of the most inebriated nights at Brickstore, for sure. The upstairs was crushing nothing but Belgium and mostly high-gravity Rochefort. But it was a special night. You know, we had the brewer from Rochefort come here to our own little pub in Decatur, Georgia. It was incredible. I was very enamored by that, and it was a special moment. Maybe realizing the gravity of what, you know, the craft beer scene in America hadn't quite lit up the way it has, and it certainly wasn't in our back door. And so to have someone from, you know, of that notoriety, a Trappist ale brewer, travel, the Belgian consulate came. It was one of our first introductions to really getting to know those guys, and I think that was a pivotal moment for us. So that's a big one.
That's 7.
Yeah, so there's number 7, the 7th most memorable.
Oddly enough, that was 7.
Yeah.
And then 9 and 11. Oof, jeez. 9's a toughie. It's really hard to pass up 8. Tricky. Halloween nights certainly make up the top 50 for me. No, you know, I guess maybe it's because we are upstairs and sitting in the Belgian room, but we hired a guy to take over as chef for Leon's, and this wasn't a specific moment, but Eric Ottensmeyer. And Eric stayed with us at Brickstore for 2 years while Leon's was getting started and open, and my brother Ryan is the managing partner there. And in the 2 years Eric was here, he changed the way that we do food at Brickstore Pub, you know. And I will say at that time, we had to raise the bar. The beer, you get the best beers in the world, and we were putting out good food, but it didn't quite hold up to the quality of the beverages we were starting to get our hands on. And he changed the way we do food, and he passed that baton on to Ryan Tittle and Wes Kayali, who run our kitchen now. And you know, I guess I'm just super proud of. And that was a pivotal moment to have a chef come in who was truly a culinary trained chef, and really, because in the beginning it was me, Dave, and Tom, and mostly Tom Moore, our business partner, who ran the kitchen and ran the food, but none of us were trained chefs. Tom was as close as it got and did a great job. But I think that really, you know, was one of those pivotal moments where bringing Eric in just really sent us off. We started doing a lot of farm to table, and we're just real thoughtful about what we served. And then number 11, I guess, has to be De La Fontaine.
Dr. Dre La Fontaine.
Filling the big shoes. Now, and that is part of it, but having... we are opening a brew pub in Duluth. I'm sure you guys talked about that. Good Word Brewing. And to lose, and Dave talked about this, but it can't be understated, to lose Todd DiMatteo as our general manager. He's been here over a decade. The largest impact, by far, way more than Dave, Tom, and myself in the last decade. And then Ryan Skinner, who's been with us not as many years, but a huge impact on our beer program and how it's approached. To find the people to fill their shoes is very, I mean, we're old now, so I guess I'm going to use the word comforting.
There you go. You youngins were in your 20s when you started the pub, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, right? So,
some gray hair, some less hair than before. Yes, I know the feeling.
You know, I was looking up stories before we talked to you. I wanted to see, you know, kind of some things I could find, because I'm kind of a newbie. I've been coming maybe 6 years or so. So, you know, some of these folks here. But I found a lot of... from 97 on beerinfo.com said, you know, talked about you having great beers like Dogwood and that, you know, on tap here. And then I found an article where you actually said farewell to Dogwood. When Crawford Moran closed Dogwood, you tapped the final kegs here, right?
For sure.
So.
That probably was... I don't know what number 1 would be,
8,
but we'll go ahead and say the Dogwood one was
6.
probably number 2 and the best things we've ever done. We'll go ahead and say the 20th anniversary celebration is the greatest thing we've ever done.
It'd be up there for me too. Yes. So
you know, so many great. And Owen Ogletree, as I look out the door here, he's sitting at the upstairs Belgian bar. Owen's been here. You know, I found many stories from him over the last 20 years and that. So it's very cool to see these people that they've opened breweries here. They've closed breweries here.
That's right.
You know, moved on to other things. So.
Well, you know, you bring up Owen Ogletree, and I think today out back, Bob Townsend, Austin Ray, Owen Ogletree, Al Sharpton, like those are the folks. Those are the sort of in-print voices, storytellers, especially Bob Townsend, of what we've done in the last 20 years. They've been there every moment, touting craft beer in Georgia, and talking about what we're doing.
Yeah.
And those guys are so to have all them here today. That's pretty special for me.
For sure.
Yeah. Now, we've been reminiscing, of course, about the past 20 years of the Brick Store Pub. The next 20 years are going to be pretty busy, too. I mean, you've got a lot of changes legislatively and when it comes to Georgia and local beer. What are some of the things that you are looking forward to here in Georgia?
I think you're going on vacation next week, aren't you, Dave?
That's a good one. I like
That's right.
that. Yeah.
Take a breather after all of this.
Mexico.
Right? Yeah.
Somebody else answer this. I don't.
Yeah.
For the next 20, when I look back, and I'll let probably Dan and Ryan weigh in, but, when we opened, it was all about the beer. We were guys that were super into beer and music and had a lot to learn about food and, whiskey, scotch in that time. But the cocktail things happened. We're doing farm to table here. I think the future just holds, we talked about it a little bit already, and I'll let these guys weigh in, but it's our local craft beer scene. That really is the future for what's coming down the pike and the most exciting thing. Breweries, brew pubs, our friends in our own backyard and what they're doing, and maybe just us trying to keep up with that, man, with our food, with our atmosphere, and making sure that our staff's trained and knows what's going on, and that we're still tapping the stuff that we're excited about that the guests want. I think it's local craft.
Because I think there's only 2 breweries still operating here that were open when you opened, right? Would that be Sweetwater and Red Brick?
That's good.
Yeah. So that's it. And now we have close to 50, I think.
Yeah.
25 plus in planning. So great things going on here for sure.
I did see one of our longtime regulars, Dave, was wearing a Marthasville shirt out back.
Oh, nice.
You guys remember?
Yeah, nice.
Excellent. That's cool.
It was like original. It was like his from back then. It was super cool.
Excellent.
That's very cool.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much again for inviting us here and having us do our show here. And congratulations on 20 years. And I think we all should have a quick cheers,
for sure.
and we'll
Cheers,
go
guys.
ahead and sign out. So,
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks
Cheers.
for coming.
Here at the Beer Guys Radio Show, we love to bring you the stories behind the craft beer that you love. And we'd be grateful if you took the time to check out our Patreon site. It's at patreon.com/beerguys. If you choose to become one of our donors, you'll get some awesome swag, including t-shirts, glasses, and some stickers, too. Thanks again for listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are really happy that you have enjoyed this show. And please subscribe, tell a friend, and head to patreon.com/beerguys. Cheers. Hey, it's Aaron from the Beer Guys Radio Show, and it is summer, and it is time to talk about barbecue. Yeah, the Nest in downtown Kennesaw is the destination for not only some amazing barbecue, but it's one of the best craft beer spots, OTP or ITP. And if you're hungry for some barbecue to go along with that craft beer, you know you need to be at the Nest. Summertime, like I said, it is here. Celebrate the season with friends and family while sipping on a Georgia-made beer on their 2,000-square-foot patio. Try some brews from some of your favorite breweries like Creature Comforts, Jekyll, Omaha, Red Brick, Reformation, Dry County, so much more. Go check it out. They've got awesome barbecue. 59 taps pouring the best craft beer from Georgia and around the world. Coffee and wine, too, for those who like that kind of stuff. What else do you want? It's the Nest in historic downtown Kennesaw on Cherokee Street Northwest. Check out their current beer list and menu at thenestkennesaw.com and let them know the Beer Guy sent you. Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Cannonball coming.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
And welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Final segment already, and we are celebrating the Brick Store Pub's 20th anniversary in a lovely downtown Decatur, and it's been quite a day. Long
Absolutely,
day.
man. Good food, good people, good beer.
Yeah, they've had some barbecue on there. We've
Good
had some
rain.
great people. Well, it's rainy, but,
Yes.
it's all these tropical storms and whatnot have gotten you for the week. But hopefully things will be a little bit better. And you know what? When this airs, it's going to be July 4th weekend. We're going to be right in the middle of summer, and it's going to be a great thing. So we've talked to some folks about the Brick Store Pub and kind of what it means to them.
They're brick stories.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I can't claim that one. Brick Store actually
it's so
asked people to
cute.
send their
Brick stories in?
Brick Store actually
Okay.
asked people to send their brick stories. Yeah.
Okay, well, I
So I
would
can't claim that.
I would have totally given you credit for that
Yeah,
'cause that's
yeah.
fantastic. So what are some of ours? That's my question. Tim, do you have a good brick store
You know
story you'd
what?
like to
I'll
share?
be honest with you. I don't have anything substantial or memorable about
Mm-hmm.
it. I'm probably I did. That is the fact. One of the worst days of my life, personally. It still hurts me to this day. Is when they took the raclette off the menu.
That's true.
So that's a sad day. So.
Oh God, that was so good too.
Yes, absolutely. So I would say, I'm kind of a newbie when it comes to some of the people here. I guess I've been coming 5 or 6 years, maybe.
Okay.
And, there's people that have been coming since it opened.
Yeah.
But, I've been here for beer releases and, many times special dinners, beer releases, bottle shares, special events.
Yeah, H-Mog.
So, I've been to some great events here, met some great people, made some
Definitely.
great friendships. So that's kind of my brick story.
Yeah. How about you, Brian? Do you have a brick story?
So, yeah, I moved here in the early 2000s, the early aughts, and I thought that it was basically a beer wasteland. And I moved from Portland, Oregon, so I'm used to a lot of everybody made their own beer. And the brick store was one of the first places I came to where I saw, oh, my God, you can get good beer in Georgia. Seriously. They introduced me to stuff like Earthel Samaranth. I'm trying to think of what the other one was. Scaldus Noel. Things I'm like, oh, these are amazing, and I can get them here. It opened my eyes and kind of woke me back up because I'd been in a beer coma since I moved here, basically. So, yes, I thank them for that.
Excellent. Very cool. Becky, do you have any good thoughts about that?
Well, I moved here in 95, so I wasn't legal drinking age at that point in time. But I've enjoyed Brick Store many times, going with Tim and Brian to the various different events. The food's been fantastic. The people have been fantastic. The beer selection has been fantastic. So I really do enjoy coming over here to Brick Store Pub whenever I can.
Yeah, definitely. And I moved here in 2000, and like you, Brian, I'm kind of from the West Coast as well, and it's hard to find, good beer back then. And I asked around a little bit, and everyone said, oh, you got to go to the Brick Store. I'm like, okay, cool. So went to the Brick Store. One of my favorite pictures I have actually is a picture of my dad and my son, who's now 13, as an infant, maybe 2 months old. We're actually outside the Brick Store having a beer and having some fish and chips at a trip there. So it's a lot of fun there. I've had a lot of good memories. I've got a good friend of mine who actually just recently passed away. Nick Wilchin used to be a regular here, and so it's a lot of great memories for us here, and we really enjoy this. It's when they opened the Belgian bar, it kind of opened up a whole new world to people here, and myself, who've never really been experienced very much into Belgian beers, and that just continues to grow. And they really do a nice job educating the public and bringing them something new and something that's approachable. And they're not snobby about it. It's like they want you to enjoy the beer and have a good time here, and you really enjoy it. So.
Sure, yeah. If you don't know, you come in here not knowing what you're talking about. Like we mentioned earlier, although this is a very beer geek-centric bar, you don't have to be a beer geek. And the clientele here is so varied. Everybody comes here. The food's good, the environment's good, the beer is good, but you don't have to be a beer geek, beer nerd to come and enjoy the Brick Store
And they're
Pub.
not snobby about it. It's all about good beer and good times. And one of the cool things about the Brick Store Pub is that there's no TVs. You kind of stimulate the conversation by that, and you're not just stuck to your bar stool watching the sports game. So
I like getting a table in the back of the Belgian bar, a little nook back there, get a kind of cozy place, lower ceilings, get a few friends and sit back there and enjoy some beers and conversation.
All the brickwork and the antique plaques of all the Belgian it's so delightful.
The woodwork, the brickwork, and that is just a really cozy spot.
Yeah, it's really a nice place that kind of takes you away from your hustle and bustle of your daily life, and can kind of sit back here in a nice, fairly quiet environment, see some friends, meet some new ones, and really enjoy us, and of course, we're not getting, this is not an endorsement for Brick Store. We're not getting paid or anything like that. It's just a great place to be, and really something that has been a part of beer culture in Atlanta, and really has helped develop beer culture in Georgia over the years, as you heard in some earlier interviews that we've done. So it's been great. And again, cheers to 20 years, and we hope to see you guys on the flip side, and maybe another 20 more years. I don't know if we'll be here around.
20 more years
of beer, and that would be good. Hey, let's go ahead and check out this week's Hot List.
Time for the Hot List. The beer guys have the scoop on what's going on next week. Brought to you by CRL Contracting. We build breweries. CRLcontracting.com.
That's hot.
All right, what have we got on the Hot List? Tim, you want to start us off?
Georgia, man, good stuff going on. And I would recommend checking our calendar before seeing what you want to do this week, because there could be some things added after we tape this.
That's also true,
So go to beerguysradio.com and check out our calendar of events. But Sunday, we have Sunday Fun Day at Your Pie Parameter, where they have featured bottles and cans there for only $3.14. Monday, Pig and Gator Roast at the Nest, Kennesaw. That sounds like
fantastic.
I may try and make that one.
Yes.
Pig and Gator. So we also have Comet Cosplay at the Comet Pub in Lanes. Go check that out. Tuesday's the 4th of July.
Woohoo! Happy birthday, America.
I haven't seen any events for it yet. Some places are closing, so there may not be that much going on. I think we'll get together and share some beers and set off or watch some fireworks. We used to go each year we'd go to Brian's house. He's in a condo overlooking, Lenox Mall area, and that they canceled our fireworks.
Oh, what's up with
they're
that?
not going in there anymore.
So disappointed. That's why I moved into the building.
Just for the fireworks.
So we'll figure it out. Yes, just for fireworks. He loves them that much.
That's it.
Wednesday's the 5th, which is Cinco de Siberias. You can get Mexican Siberias Maximus there at Recce Bar Brew Pub.
Yep.
So definitely go check it out. Thursday, as always, we have Pint Night at Your Pie Perimeter, where they feature pints for only $3.14 there. And Urban Tree Tap Takeover up in Woodstock, my neck of the woods at Truck and Tap.
Yeah.
So go check that out. Saturday, check this out.
Okay.
Grilled cheese, beer, and swimming pools.
Oh, I'm sold. I'm going.
Yeah, all your favorite things.
All my favorites.
There?
I'm there.
That's at Naughty Soda Ironmonger up in Marietta. So
Excellent.
They're putting some pools. They're going to set some pools up to cool you off.
And
beer,
while you're
grilled
eating
cheese.
grilled cheese and
Yeah,
drinking
you
beer.
float around with the grilled cheese. If it's a little dry,
I was going to say, dunk it a little bit. That's yummy. Sounds like a plan to me. Hey, in Alabama, we've got some things going on as well, of course. On Monday, head to Blue Pants Brewery for the Parks and Recreation Trivia. I'm not a Parks and Recreation guy. I'm more of an office guy, but I'll probably fail miserably at that. But if you're a Park and Rec kind of person, go check that out. On July 4th, speaking of July 4th events, Rocket Republic Brewing, one of our friends, they're having a pig roast at the brewery. So that sounds like a perfect plan for me. Anything involving pork products and beer on the 4th of July just kind of works. And finally, on Thursday, Red Hills having their tasting at Hop City, Birmingham as well. So a local brewery there. They're going to have a tasting, and it's going to be fun. So a lot of stuff going on this week. And, of course, like you said, Tim, check out our events list at beerguysradio.com. Our calendar there is always updated. And make sure that you get all the deets, as the kids say.
The deets.
That's what the kids say.
Do you have anything special planned for the 4th yet?
I think it will involve beer and possibly some fireworks. My son loves fireworks because, again, he's 13 years old, and so we may just shoot some of those off, and it'll be fun.
I had a friend invite me to his subdivision last year on the 4th to go check out fireworks, and I went over there. He's like, yeah, we're going to get together at a friend's house and do some fireworks. I was like, all right, let me go over and check out. I'm telling you, this neighborhood had more people than the city park for their fireworks.
They don't mess around,
So
some of those subdivisions.
I mean, they were apparently, and I didn't know this because he made it pretty casual, like it's just going to be a few people getting together.
Yeah.
But the whole neighborhood, I mean, they had the whole block taken over there for the neighborhood fireworks.
That's good stuff. And some of those guys are crazy. I mean, shooting off, $1,000 worth of fireworks. It's good stuff.
Blowing stuff up, it's a way to celebrate.
Hey, y'all, watch this.
That's
whole
right.
year. That's it. So, Tim, it's almost time. Well, it is time, actually, for a giveaway to give away.
Giveaway to give away.
Yes, what do we got this week?
Winner this week is Matt Furity. Matt, thank you so much for subscribing to This Week in Georgia Beer. We have a super cool Beer Guy swag pack coming out with great passes and T-shirts and glassware, bottle openers, just a smorgasbord.
Lots of swag.
Treats that we'll get sent your way. So drop us an email to beerguys@beerguysradio.com. We'll get that sent out to you. So
that sounds like a plan.
Aaron, you know the drill, man. If people want to enter their name in the contest, how do they do that?
It's the easiest thing in the world. Just go to beerguysradio.com and sign up for This Week in Georgia Beer. You'll get a weekly newsletter with all of the happenings in Georgia Beer, and you'll be entered to win your weekly swag pack. And like you said, I got a bunch of stuff in my office itching to be given away. So sign up and do that, and super easy. So we're going to be basically cruising around. We're going to go ahead and cut us off for this week. We're going to go drink some more beer, have a good time here at the finish off the Brick Store's 20th anniversary. But in the meantime, don't forget to check us out on the socials, beerguysradio.com.
Who are we talking to next week, Aaron?
We're talking to
Avondale?
Avondale, yes. We're doing
There's
the sour
new
room.
sour room there, right?
Yeah, so they got a lot of things going on. They got sour rooms, they got a distillery, and they've got, of course, great beer out of Birmingham. So we'll be talking to those guys. Let's go grab a couple beers and enjoy. In the meantime, have a great 4th of July weekend, and don't forget to drink local. Cheers. Well, hey, thanks for sticking around and listening to the Beer Guys radio show. And, of course, on this special event, special occasion, we just couldn't leave well enough alone. So we were able to talk to two folks instrumental in Georgia's craft brewing scene to talk more about the history of Brick Store Pub. So coming up, we've got Owen Ogletree from Brewtopia Events and Brian Purcell from 3 Taverns. Thanks for listening.
Owen, thanks for joining us. We have Owen Ogletree here with us. We wanted to get a couple people's brick stories. Owen, have you been coming here since it opened?
Absolutely, from day one.
Yeah, I was telling Dave earlier when we talked to him that as I was doing research for our interview, when I went back, you can sort your results by time. So I tried to find from 97, 98, 99. And I kept coming up with stories and videos and stuff that you had shared over the years. So
yeah, I was so impressed when these guys opened this pub that I just did videos, posts as much as I could possibly do because I was so impressed. These guys just blew it out of the water. I mean, they really had a great concept of the day of what craft beer was supposed to be and what people should be appreciating, and I just love that. I was all over it.
Awesome. And for those that aren't familiar with Owen Ogletree, Owen is with Brewtopia events. You put on Classic City Brew Fest, Atlanta Cask Ale Tasting, and then you've got a great excuse for running around the world drinking beer with your beer tours, right?
Right, yeah.
So,
yeah, anywhere I go, I can write it off for research for taking
That's
a
fantastic.
future beer tour.
Absolutely.
So
someone's going to do that job, I guess. That's a good job to have, right?
And we always ask you where you went recently, but I saw you just got back from Australia recently,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. It's still 3 o'clock in the morning to me, and
fun.
I'm worn out, but it was worth every minute. Australia was beautiful. The craft beers are amazing. The people are super, and it's where we were about probably 6 years ago.
Very cool.
Okay.
With about double the enthusiasm, so they're on they're on the rise. Yeah.
I was gonna say Aussies don't suffer when it comes to beer drinking, so I think that's probably good stuff for them. Anyway, yeah, Owen. Now again, you've been here longer than both of us have, to be honest. You've been here since the beginning. How did the Brick Store really help create the craft beer scene in the Metro Atlanta, Georgia area?
Well, they popped into this place when people said, "You're putting a pub in there? That's crazy. I mean, no one's going to come there. That's like a derelict. It's empty. It's downtown Decatur. No one goes there anymore." And they went, "Well, we're going to change that." And they did. And they put the pub in here, and within 2 weeks, it was crowded every night, and people were coming in, learning about beer and tasting beer and trying beer. And the good thing about these guys from the Brick Store is that they would give out samples. And they were heavy on the education. They would talk about, well, this beer's from Belgium, and it's got this yeast, and this beer's from England, and it's on hand pump, and this is why this is special. And they taught so many people who lived here and spread out from here and took the gospel of craft beer with them that it just exploded. It really was a turning point of great beer in Georgia.
And also, you mentioned that too. It also seems like it was a turning point for the city of Decatur as well.
Oh, yes.
I moved here in 2000, and Decatur was kind of a pretty hip little town. But back then, when they first started, it wasn't that way.
No, it was pretty quiet. No one came downtown, and people said they were crazy. And within 2 weeks, it was packed. And then you saw the businesses next door just slowly fill with new businesses and new restaurants, and it just spread from the Brick Store around the block and then across the street and they really led to the Decatur Renaissance for businesses. I mean, these guys are completely responsible.
It doesn't surprise me in the least that beer was able to do that.
No.
So, the power of beer. But
absolutely,
yeah.
No, it's funny. I was actually talking to a gentleman downstairs at the in the event, and he said he's born and raised here in Decatur, and he remembered when Decatur was going to incorporate into DeKalb County.
Right.
And this was one of the reasons why they didn't, is because they started to get businesses here and they started to expand. So it could have had a completely different city of Decatur, or even not even a city of Decatur, had it not been really for the Brick Store. So it's interesting.
Right.
Very cool. Owen, thanks for joining us. We've jam-packed this show, but we did want to talk to you briefly. You're a big part of Georgia beer history as well. We thank you for all you do for Georgia beer, and
thanks very much
for taking a few minutes to chat with us today.
It was a pleasure. Yeah, thanks.
Cool. Thank you much.
Cheers. Thank you.
Man, we are here at Brick Store Pub's 20th anniversary. We're with Brian Purcell. Brian, owner of 3 Taverns Craft Brewery in Decatur. Not far from the Brick Store, right?
Far. My house is not far from the Brick Store. I can walk here.
Everything you need right here.
Everything I need. This has been my go-to bar since I moved to Decatur in 2002. Yeah.
Okay. That's we were just talking with a couple people here. We talked with the owners and the beer managers. We caught 4 generations of beer manager here hanging out together.
Really?
The whole
4?
Crew. Yeah, the whole
that's
crew
awesome.
there, man. But so what has Brick Store Pub meant for the development of 3 Taverns and kind of in your beer journey there?
It is besides what it has, how it's educated me on what beer is and on the amazing diversity and selection of beer, and especially Belgian beer when they open that Belgian bar upstairs to the left. It's also just been a source of inspiration in terms of my own journey and home brewing, in terms of what I want to do with beer. Dave and I, Mike and I, Tom and I, we've become friends over the years. I mean, they were my local neighborhood pub. I spent many a night here. I got to know Mike mostly in the beginning on their first Monday, I think it was first Monday of every month. They did their beer cheese pairing.
Beer and cheese, right.
So they would pair cheese, and Mike used to be there carving the cheese. And you've heard Mike Gallagher. I mean, he's quite a personality. So he was into it. So he brought that same energy to all the pairings, to talking about the cheeses. And so it was just something you didn't want to miss. And so I spent many nights there, but it was also Mike that I shared my first homebrew batch with. And he was pretty blown away. And when you have a guy like that knows beer, that's been experienced with beer, that has that kind of experience with your own homebrew, it's encouraging. So these guys have been a source of inspiration, a source of encouragement for me since the early days of my homebrewing adventures. And now, I didn't have a vision for a brewery when I was homebrewing. I just wanted some feedback, an opinion on how was I doing. And but over time, as I continued to get better at brewing and started to have a vision for building a brewery in Decatur, these guys were a true encouragement. And then Dave and I became really good friends over time. And Dave Blanchard, in particular, was really he's woven in to the heart of Three Taverns. He inspired me. He encouraged me. His attention to detail, his how particular he is about every single aspect of the experience that you have when you come into the Brick Store pub was something that taught me and trained me on what I needed to expect for our consumers in every aspect of how they experience drinking Three Taverns beer.
So you're one of the 20 breweries they collaborated with for their 20 and 20.
Correct.
I hate to say this, Brian, but your collaboration is total BS, man. Sorry. So,
yeah, it is total BS. And I have to say that, like it says on the bottle label, there's an aspect of the Brick Store Pub that's 20 years of total BS.
Total BS.
So, but I love the name. It's Dave Blanchard's idea for the name. We said we're going to do a Brick Store Brett Saison BS. And Dave goes, that's total BS.
Total BS.
I'm like you, Dave.
Yeah. There you go. And there's you actually have bottles at the brewery on that one, correct?
The bottles are available. We released them today at the brewery. So you can get up to 5 bottles right now until September 1st.
Then,
and then we'll release probably what's left to the market. So there'll be some in the marketplace. But the label design, so the interesting thing, we cannot reference the Brick Store on the label.
Okay. All right.
So if you look at the label, it's all Brick Store, and everything infers Brick Store, but it doesn't say Brick Store.
Yes.
And then Josh Jameson, who does all the chalkboard art here, we both agreed he needed to do the label. So the label design is Josh, and we did. It's an awesome label.
That chalkboard he's got up there is unbelievable.
That is unbelievable. Did he not capture those guys?
That's just perfect. I said they should just replace the chalkboard, put some sealant over that.
Yeah, I agree.
And keep that working.
Yeah, the personality that he's able to get in chalk is like amazing.
Impressive.
Yeah, he's an impressive artist for sure. Yeah.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing great beer to Georgia.
Well, thanks for your encouragement and support. Beer Guys Radio is awesome, and we really do. Aaron, Tim, appreciate everything you're doing for beer in Georgia. Thank you. Cheers. All right.
Thanks for listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're on demand via iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. Always online at beerguysradio.com. Aaron and Tim are back next week with more about the amazing world of craft beer. Cheers. The Beer Guys Radio Show on the Beer Guys Radio Network. beerguysradio.com.